Oh Dark Souls, oh Dark Souls, what shall we do with you? Oh Dark Souls. A sort of sequel spiritual successor to Demon Souls. It shares many similar concepts, but it is slightly different. So what exactly is this game about? To be honest with you, I do not know what the story is about completely. What it really boils down to is that you are in prison, you escape from the prison. As you escape from the prison, you run to a dying soldier who tells you to go and ring 2 bells, and that's what you set out to do, and that's the story. Which is pretty insane considering this game has more characters, more worlds than Demon Souls. I mean, the last game had a bit more to go on, and that barely had a story either. As soon as you start, you can tell this is a very gameplay focused game. There's no fancy CGI cutscenes to hold you back. You are already playing. I mean, granted the game has an interesting mythology, but you will have to figure it out on your own time, as the game doesn't have any plans in helping you figure that out. Now for the gameplay, as far as this game is concerned, gameplay is the main focus and everything else is irrelevant or not as important. Similar to the last game, you start by creating a character based on templates such as warrior, wizard, thief, and so forth. And just like the previous game, you're not bound by class, so as you can play the game any way you want with any style too. The character templates just determine what stats you begin with, but in the end the modification of stats is all up to you. What's new this time around is that rather than using a hub world system, Dark World uses an open world system. Well, it's not really open world because everything is still linear to an extent, but rather everything is interconnected, so to find new areas you got to explore, and there are a few shortcuts and little secrets to find, so I think it keeps things very interesting. There is also a new checkpoint system in the form of bonfires. At various parts of the stage you can find these things. Here you can replenish your health and magic, level up, and when you die you start at whatever bonfire you last visited. However, by touching a bonfire, all the enemies in the area come back to life, which can be a good thing or a bad thing. Now let's talk about the combat. The combat has actually been improved a bit. What I really liked was that they fixed the magic system. The combat is, rather than using the MP system, they went with like a charge system, which is basically each magic spell has a certain number of times you can use it before you have to recharge at a bonfire. People used to cheese all the time in Magic and Demon Souls, as they could just spam magic after magic, use an MP item and continue, but now there are no MP items. There are no health items either. Instead you're given like healing flasks that can like heal you. You're given a limited amount and that can only be refilled at bonfire, so it means you want to be a little bit more tactical, as you can't just like cheese on the healing items either, because you only have like a certain amount. But due to these changes, there's a bigger emphasis on hand-to-hand combat, as you can't just cheese with magic through the entire game, and we'll actually have to make use of all your skills and abilities this time. Combat is a bit tighter with the addition of several new moves and maneuvers, and also armor is actually useful this time. Not only does this offer specific defensive properties, there's a new element such called poise. Poise is basically how many times you can take a hit before staggering. Usually heavier armor has a high amount of poise, while it's opposite for lighter armor. This is a good option for people who like to tank, because now you can deliver your hit even if you're being hit by the enemy. One thing I did hate with the combat is that sometimes there's a bit of input lag, which is the worst thing you can want in a game like this. Like for example, I will press a button and rather than doing the action immediately, it will do it in like 2 seconds later, which is no good. The death system is also slightly different. This time there's a human and like hollow system. When you die you become a hollow, but unlike the previous game you can still retain your full health. You still lose your souls, but the game is a little bit more forgiving this time around, as there's more souls to go around this time. The benefit of being in human form is that it's how you make your bonfire stronger, so you can hold more healing like bottles. You do this through items called humanity. They are far from defeated bosses, certain enemies hold them, and sometimes as items. This is also how you go back to human form. It's also in human form that you're able to summon other players to do co-op with you, and how you get invaded. Now, the multiplayer component when compared to the previous game is a little disappointing, and for one reason alone, but I will get back to that in a bit. Now, in our multiplayer, you can summon people to help you with the quest, or also help you fight off an invading player. What's changed is that the healing is limited for summoned and invading players, as they cannot use healing bottles. They can still use healing magic if they have that, or humanity, which is not a so common item, but I think I use that as like a last ditch effort. But this makes battles faster, as I remember in Demon Souls, the battles are going forever, so everyone had like a million healing herbs on them. Now only the host can heal with the healing flask, and everyone has like and the summoned phantoms can be healed whenever he uses one of those healing things. Now, that's cool and all, but what really messes everything up are the servers. to put it nicely, the servers are no good, especially when compared to Demon Souls servers. Don't be surprised to see a lot of summoning failed or invasion failed messages, as it takes a bit of effort to establish a connection, which is a shame. And who could forget the occasional lag which could make player versus player a living hell. And don't forget the occasional button input lag as well, as it really messes up. It can really mess up your day. However, I would say that the game has a preference for co-op than P versus P. That seems to work a bit better, which is a shame, as the player versus player has some real potential. But oh well. Now, graphics wise, it's not the best looking game, but it does look better than Demon Souls. Characters are bigger, the armor is more shinier, and the bosses and some of the enemies are well designed, and the worlds have some unique concepts to it. Something that really bothered me was the inconsistent frame rate. At certain parts, the frame rates will drop to low numbers and make everything really glitchy, laggy, and slow. I also noticed this happens when there are a lot of enemies on screen, which is no good and can lead to some unfair deaths. Now, music wise, there's not really a lot, as the music usually plays during boss battles, but besides that, it's mostly silent. There's a little bit of voice acting, but not too much. For the most part, what you're gonna be here is a lot of you walking around and killing off enemies, but that's pretty much it. Let's wrap this review up. Now, it's been some time since I beat Dark Souls as well as Demon Souls, and probably why it took me a little longer to review this besides my laziness is that I wanted to think about what set both games apart. Now, to me, it came down to constants and variables. Demon Souls being the constant and Dark Souls the variable. Demon Souls is more focused and consistent in what it sets out to achieve. Dark Souls is more ambitious and tries to expand and improve over its own predecessor. On paper, that sounds about right, and in some ways it does, but for every step forward, I feel it takes a few steps back. Yes, I love the improved combat and open world to explore, but there were many things the game didn't feel stable. The dip in frame rates, the repetitive nature of some of the bosses, and the mediocre Namco Bandai servers for multiplayer. I mean, what happened? Now, it might sound like that I hate the game, but I still enjoyed it. I just don't think it's as impressive or as revolutionary this time around. It's still a decent game, and if you enjoy Demon Souls, this should be a no-brainer to pick up. And yes, this game is not hard at all. I actually found it easier than Demon Souls. The problem is that all these new games are so easy and hold your hand, and when a game comes out with like a moderate level of difficulty that doesn't really want to hold your hand, people panic because you're not used to games like this anymore. Games are just too easy these days. But anyway, that's my review, and I'll see you guys later. Take it easy.